My name is Fanny Carray and I work for Juniper Networks. We are a networking company. I'm a solution specialist in part of our portfolio, which is our AI-driven part of the portfolio. So that encompasses our wireless solution, our switching, our SD-WAN, and also our NAC solution. And all of this has an AI-driven part of it. And I'm going to talk to you today about what does that mean? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to the users that are utilizing our networks? So the theme of my presentation is to talk about the business outcomes that we can get through AI networking. And I would like to take a step back and look at what are the networks that we have today and what are those challenges that we're seeing on the networks? Well, first of all, I would say there's a massive change since COVID. People are actually coming back to the office, but we're working in a different type of way. So we have flexible workplaces. We have a demand for bring your own device, so bring your own mobile devices into the network, but also wanting to utilize the collaboration tools that we have, such as Microsoft Teams, Zoom, etc. And a lot of the times, those experiences are not always great. You know, you might not find your Wi-Fi password, you have bad experiences on your Teams call. Those are the ones that we want to identify. But the problem with networking is that a lot of networking was architected between 15 and 20 years ago. That was before we had smartphones, before we had microservices cloud architectures. But the networks that are serving us today are the ones that were actually architected back then. So how do we address this? Well, Juniper actually addressed this through a solution called Mist. It's a microservices cloud-based architecture. Why does that matter? It's because we need to be able to handle a lot of data through an AI and ML system to be able to pinpoint user experiences on those networks. So that is what Juniper is doing differently. And that enables us to automate how we implement networking. And it enables us to pinpoint trouble tickets and find root cause analysis really quickly, and avoiding these challenges that we can see in a lot of the businesses that we work with today. So not only are we seeing, the people coming back to the office from COVID, we're also seeing a lot of rising costs. So Gartner is saying that operational expenditure is going to increase 15% year on year in the next 5 years. So that's a massive increase in costs. But the networking teams are staying the same. So we're also seeing that the first level support and second level support that have to handle all these support tickets coming in are getting completely overwhelmed, because we still need to use our collaboration tools. We need to still be able to have great connectivity in our networks. So I want to tell you a story about ServiceNow. So ServiceNow is a SaaS company, one of the really fast-growing SaaS companies of the world. Juniper used them as well for our own ticketing systems and things like that. And they came to us with a challenge. They had a challenge of different vendors in their network infrastructure. They would have the VP calling them all the time saying, my Wi-Fi is not working correctly, I need help. But the networking team would go in and look at the network, and the network was up and running, so they couldn't really help the VP. So they've had bad experiences all the way up to the C-level. They also had issues with their deployment. It wasn't automatic, so they had to send people out to sites to do the deployment of the networks as well. So they came to us with a challenge. They said, we have a zero strategy. And we were like, so what's that? Their zero strategy is to have 0 incidents on the network, 0 downtime, and 0 physical footprint. So essentially removing all of their data centers. So how do we then facilitate this with Juniper? Well, first of all, we utilize our AI-driven network to be able to pinpoint incidents and also proactively identify when we could have a downtime in the future, so we can then remediate that problem. And by numbers, if we look at what did we do together with ServiceNow, well, essentially we reduced their carbon footprint. We also automated their deployment, so they didn't have any people going to any sites. So they did this during COVID. They did the implementation remotely. They also reduced their operational expenditure with 70%. So as you saw, OpEx is going up, and they've been able to do this with one single change in their solution with 70% in one go. The CapEx has also been reduced because they removed a lot of their data centers and switching as well. And then they could reduce their costs with 60%. So that's fundamental change for them, and now they can focus a lot of time on developing more applications and more features that makes their business run more efficiently. They're also building this into the ServiceNow platform through APIs into us. So if any one of you guys have ServiceNow or utilizing ServiceNow, I'm sure you do, then you can utilize our solution and the ServiceNow, and we have an integrated API into that as well. So we can imagine this is the VP of ServiceNow, right? He's having a bad experience. Can anybody tell me in here, put up your hand, have you ever had an experience like this? So I'm happy that most of you are nodding, because otherwise I'll think maybe you're sleeping. So yeah, these are the real experiences that we all have. These are the ones that are ruining really important customer calls that we're having. These are the ones that we want to avoid. Traditional networking cannot identify these experiences. So we take AI data to pinpoint these pixelated experiences and say, this is what you need to do to not have that next week for your VP or CEO, etc. The AI essentially look across the whole network. So it looks all the way from your client device all the way through the network into the application. And we look at for example, in this example, it's the Wi-Fi that's the issue. And then you can click in and see, okay, here on the Wi-Fi, this is the specific issue for this user. So it's very powerful what you can do with the data set that we can collect from the network. So in terms of the technology, what makes us different? So we look at the client level visibility. So if this was my iPhone, for example, we would take 150 data points every 2 seconds around that device. That's a lot of data. That data then is run through machine learning and AI technologies to be able to pinpoint issues on the network. So we can see, for example, what is a good user experience? So we'll deliver that to you in a service level expectation. And if the user experience is not good, then we correlate that with our AI operations. And our AI operations assistant is called Marvis, very much like a Jarvis that you were talking about earlier, right? So I guess there's a theme if we're into like AI and ML and things like that with Marvis and Jarvis. Marvis is a conversational assistant where you can, first level support can write to Marvis and say, please troubleshoot Fanny's iPhone. Very easy to do, conversational, text-driven. That removes a lot of the pressures from the networking team, because that's normally a question that the networking team would have to answer. But now first level support can do that. We even have universities that have students working in first level support that will handle these questions coming in from other students in the networks. So it alleviates a lot of the cost coming into a networking team, and a networking team is normally very well educated and need to be more proactive doing other things as well. We also want to be able to record a crime whenever it's happening on the network. So crimes could be that you put the wrong password in. That's a crime, we don't like that. So we want to be able to record those ones. So the AI will identify and record issues and crimes on the network and provide that recording to the networking team. And that enables us to identify also intermittent problems. In Wi-Fi, because it goes in the air, a lot of issues are intermittent. So it can happen one day of the week, but it doesn't happen the next day. I have personally sent a professional services person when I worked at a previous company to Denmark, I think around 5 times to university, and we could never find the issue. And it cost a lot of money because we had to fix it, essentially. So we can avoid these intermittent problems, and we can avoid these trips on our roads as well. And that's what we've done. For example, we worked with the Gap. When they implemented our solution, they reduced the amount of travel time on the roads with 85%. And because they're so dispersed, that's a lot of saving for them as well. We then add our AI-driven operations and support into our cloud architecture. So it is enabled through microservices. Microservices cloud is what we got from around 2007 onwards, and it was revolutionary because with this type of cloud architecture, we can mine and handle a lot of data. So machine learning and AI was enabled through this type of cloud architecture. And we are the only vendor that is doing this today in networking. So we're well ahead of competition. That's also another reason why we don't have any service level windows either. We don't ask you to upgrade your network at a certain time. You can do it whenever you want. And another part where we're doing something a little bit different in the market is in the Wi-Fi side. So we've built an antenna into the AP that helps you with indoor location services and also engagement. This, for example, you can use for wayfinding at a big campus, or you can use it for proximity. If you're a retailer and you have an application, if you have somebody coming into your store, we can push a pop-up through the application that says, today you have 10% off shampoo whilst you're waiting for your prescription at Boots, say. So that type of technology is really cool, and it's also built into the IT infrastructure. So normally, we buy a third party on top of that. That might be battery-powered beacons and things like this. So this is also revolutionary, and that's why Gartner is also rating us very highly in the location quadrant as well. So to top this off in terms of our technology, it's all API-driven, so you can integrate that with other solutions. For example, with Microsoft Teams, we utilize Microsoft Teams data inside of our cloud architecture to identify where we're having good and bad Teams experiences, because those ones are very important that they're really, really good. So we look at the client all the way to the cloud. So through your Wi-Fi, through your switching, through your NAC solution, through your SD-WAN, and then we have our cloud architecture collecting data and correlating it to pinpoint why the user experience was good or bad. We work, for example, with Halfords. Most of us that have cars have been there and been standing there in the rain under the tent outside. And with Halfords, they wanted to really change the customer experience. They had issues with their network. They would have people working in the store going out to the tent outside at the front, and they would lose connectivity. They couldn't find out the information that the customer needed. And in the motoring industry, there's always been a little bit of mistrust between the store retailer and the customer, because the customer really needs information quickly when it comes to motoring. And that's something we've helped Halfords with. We're providing a network that provides reliability for the people that are utilizing the network, but also for people that are utilizing the stores. They can also find out information very, very quickly when they're either at the garages or the stores of Halfords. We've been able to have a very fast deployment. They did acquire a company called National Tire, and we did the implementation extremely efficient through zero-touch provisioning. We've also been able to reduce the help desk tickets with 95%. So that's a fundamental change for their networking team, and the networking team can now be a lot more proactive in their work. We also have a very fast mean time to resolution. So the AI, when you have a support ticket, will pinpoint this is the client, this is the user, and this is the store where you have this specific issue. And then you don't actually have to go to site. You can handle those ones remotely as well. And they're also building a platform to be able to utilize indoor location services for the people that are working in the stores and in the garages to provide better services for the customers coming in as well. So when I talk about us being amazing, obviously I will say that because I'm from Juniper, right? So I'm a little bit biased, that's something I can say. But if we look at the analysts, what are they saying? Well, Juniper was a few years ago at the bottom part of the left-hand side. We were not visionary, we didn't have a Wi-Fi solution, but then we acquired this Mist platform into all of Juniper's portfolio. And the powerful thing about having a common AI platform is that we can identify these user issues on the network quickly and find a root cause analysis to that. That's why Juniper is the leader of the leader in the Gartner quadrant for wired and wireless LAN. And we've been so 3 years running now. So we're really proud of this position. But also on location services as well, we're a leader there too. And we're the only networking vendor that's in here, and we do it innately inside of the access point. So if you want to utilize location-based services in a room like this, for example, the only thing you would need would be access points, and then we can utilize the location services. Normally, you would have an access point and also a third-party BLE infrastructure on top that might be battery-powered, might be not so pretty as well, and also adds to the costing of the whole solution in itself. I think I have 30 seconds left, so I'll try to do it swiftly. Dunelm is another retailer that we work with, and their networking team used to work really proactively. They would wait for support tickets to come in, and then they would deal with it. Now, they've been able to proactively go after and pinpoint actions that they need to do to prevent support tickets coming in. So that's a big difference in the way that the team is working. For their Christmas period last year, the CEO said, had a shout out to the networking team saying, this is one of our most valuable teams. We had 0 outages. We kept up with all of the commerce during that Christmas period. So thank you so much. So they're actually getting more people into their team because they want to do more things in terms of digital and in terms of that digital transformation as well. And a call to action from today is that we work really well with Coacho. We have a lot of customers together, and where we really shine is where we go in together with Coacho. We find a Wi-Fi environment that's really bad. So if you have something really disgusting that you want us to deal with, we'll come in, we put our stuff in there, and the AI will identify the issues that you're having. And we do that together with Coacho, and we have, for example, done that together with Coacho and Bird. So yeah, please find us or somebody at Coacho and ask us, please do a POC in my environment, and we'll come and happily pinpoint what's wrong and do a clean. So thank you so much.